Great. Yes, my name is Joanna Walker from King's College London. Good morning, everyone. I'm here with my colleague, Professor Eleanor Simpal. King's College Department of Informatics, we are part of the university that is ranked number 3 in the UK for the impact of our research. We are very experienced in leading and coordinating Horizon projects. Just some of the few we've worked on recently, award-winning Horizon projects, I should point out here. Our projects have included data-driven innovation, human AI interaction with transport and mobility. We've got done AI and human interaction in arts and heritage sectors. So there's a wild and the Open Data Incubator for Europe there as well. So there's a broad range of projects in our experience. Currently, we have 10 current knowledge graph and generative AI projects in software areas. And we have expertise in the human and social aspects of AI, including all areas of the data pipeline, social computing, data-driven innovation, and responsible AI. We also have strong industry connections. So, going the wrong way, sorry. That would be better. Thank you so much. So as we've just heard from our colleagues at Aalto University, many people are using generative AI to generate code to accelerate software development. However, as I know a lot of us in this room know, that is not the entire story of software engineering. There's a lot more to it. And we need to consider those aspects that ensure safety and trustworthiness. And some of those aspects are, of course, test-driven development, enabling greater elicitation of requirements from users and collecting that, better specifications. We've just heard about the need for better maintenance and, of course, vitally, documentation. These all still rely on fully manual processes in most cases, which has a strong environmental impact. So our proposal is looking at developing technical frameworks, tool chains, and use cases for industry that will boost the development of software using both generative AI and knowledge engineering to overcome the existing problems. In our vision, large language models can be used to help elicit requirements to increase the quality of user stories, to help software engineers to transform their user stories into the required competency questions and functional requirements, and to enable the documentation of software. We can then combine LLMs and knowledge graphs to generate test suites based on the domain competencies of knowledge graphs, and to generate software specification documents and generate data models. Look at that, learning as I go. So the benefits here are obviously that we're building on an existing engagement and willingness across Europe to use generative AI to co-develop code. And people, we've already seen results of that. It also reduces the cost of collecting and analysing requirements and doing all the processes that are actually required further on top of just generating the code. But vitally, and this is where it's going to help accelerate the pace of development and also create sustainability, is it creates replicability and the reuse of knowledge structures that emerge, which reduces the costs, thank you, and increases overall ecosystem maintainability. So we have this impact that means that these tools and frameworks would be utilisable by firms at all levels of TRL. And the tools and frameworks would enable this agility in far more elements of software engineering. So we're really looking for partners who can help with us in identifying the key areas of software engineering that require this AI support. So partners with these use cases and these particular needs in these areas. And if you are those people, then please do talk to us, get in touch on the platform or on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Structured in 3 business lines. One more focused on the research and innovation activities, that is the lab, which I'm leading. Then we have the consulting line of business, where we do PMO activities. We support in the acquisition phase and the proposal writing phase. And also we cover, and this is one of our strengths, the media and communication part for the impact and exploitation of these results, because without this, you make no impact. So you have results on paper, but not in the economy, in the society. Our expertise has been used with different roles, from the project coordination to PMO, as I was saying, but also to the management of open calls. They are very important also to transfer funding to companies and to SMEs over Europe. And also helping with the strategies and road mapping and the policy monitoring and recommendation. So these are also parts where we are directly involved. And more on the media and communication side, of course, communication dissemination, and events, community building, and on my side, more specifically, I'm in the lab, so we focus on these areas of expertise. So when we say we work on community building and events, we know what we are doing also because within the company we have the technical expertise. So we have 10 researchers working with us on different fields, from the cloud IoT edge computing to formal verification for security. We have also mathematicians inside, and also we are very deeply involved in the 6G SNS for the 5G and 6G and satellite communications. So the application domains are, I mean, just touch, let me touch in a second the smart cities, where we have a commercial platform that is named Orchestra Cities that can be used to either to build POCs. We have customers in Switzerland, but also in Europe for this platform. So now focusing, because timing is running fast, I assume. So focusing on these specific calls, in particular on these two, on digital emerging, because this was, let's say, a overall presentation that you can have the slides and you can see it. So the focus we decided to give for this pitch is on security. Okay, either from the formal verification and threat analysis to the advanced data protection with homomorphic encryption. As I was mentioning, we have mathematicians in-house, and so we can help in identifying the correct solution and implementing it in a project to prove that when you have a system that is distributed and you want the vertical sovereignty in Europe from the chips up to the application level, then you have a distributed system, very likely, and you need to be sure that on the security side you are covered. Okay, so starting from formal methods down to AI-driven threat intelligence. Okay, to leveraging open source and open databases of security threats and vulnerability, and the plan is also to work on that side. And so what are we looking for? We are looking for, on one end, in order to build a consortium that is, let's say, solid and round, from use case owners for all the three calls, but specifically for the other one, the data, okay? But nevertheless, they're very important, as was mentioned before, to prove the technology for these RIAs. SMEs and startups focusing on edge solutions, and enterprise partners with active interest in emerging processor architectures, because we want to build, say, a consortium where RISC-V is also present, because it is very important to prove this technology, because without sovereignty at the hardware level, Europe is going to be not in a nice position. Okay, and partners, if possible, with liaisons on a Euro HPC. And finally, regarding AI, it was very interesting, the previous presentation, because that is also very interesting. And on our side, we want to contribute on the security part. Okay, so along with partners on the AI side. These are just a list of projects where we are involved, and I think I'm out of time, though. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Massimo. I will ask for questions at the end. I think it's good to go with the flow as we planned. I hope that the streaming works, because I was told that this session is not streamed. Now we are, okay, great. So also people from remote can follow us. Now the next presentation is remote, is from Katarzyna Materka from Cloud Computing 7 Balls, and she's gonna focus on leader use case integration partner in IoT and Cloud Continuum projects. Katarzyna, you're having the floor now. Can you speak and say something?
Yes, hello, good
Okay,
morning.
perfect.
I'm happy that you hear me well. I hope so. Yes, my name is Katarzyna Materka and I am representing Seven Bulls company from Poland. And the presentation will be short about leading or being a use case or integration partner in IoT and Cloud Continuum projects. So please, next slide. Seven Bulls is a company located in Poland, specialized in in IT solutions integration, in AI and cloud computing projects. We have been implementing Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe projects in the area of AI and cloud computing for more than 7 years. And we also have lots of experience in different areas, and we are cooperate with many countries around the world. I didn't say also that we are SME, so maybe this is also important. And we are also trying to focus on research and development in part of our specializing. Next slide, please. In the call 01-21, so open source for cloud edge to support European digital autonomy, we plan to submit a proposal aimed in introducing solution to deploy, optimize, and monitor application in the cloud continuum, Cloud-Edge-IoT, for SME and mid-caps. The outcome of the project will be enable easy to consistent deployment of such application and their integration across business sector and cross-sector. In the proposal, we plan to leverage our results of previous project, which was a melodic, morphemic, nebulous, Piacere, and AI Sprint projects, which Seven Bulls was a partner, mainly technical partner of all of them. And we plan to create a single commercial tool, TRL 829, for developing and managing application in Cloud Continuum. We plan to be a leader of this proposal and of this project, hopefully, and already have technical and academic partners committed. And we are looking mostly for use case partners or demonstration partners. Next slide, please. As part of the proposal, we are looking for covering selected elements of the value chain for the following industries. So first, transport, mobility, automotive and electromobility, then manufacturing, industry application, including Industry 4.0, and farming. We especially invite application used more than one the above sector. That will be really great to have this kind of partner on the board. So next slide, please. And will be my last slide. Please follow us, find us on our website, or also on the Cloud-IoT platform. I hope that we find cooperation easily. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much. In the meantime, just to pick up, given that Katarzyna was speaking a little bit less than her allocated slot, there were questions also about participation of UK partners. We will come back to that. We had a presentation from King's College from Joanna. As you all know, UK is back in the race as partners in Horizon Europe. About Switzerland, we also had the question. Switzerland is still playing as a third country, meaning that they do not have an impact on your EC requested grants because they request zero. Their amount of funding comes from the Swiss authorities, but they are both entitled to participate. There's a question here. Yes. If you can say your name and organization. It's coming.
Hello? Yes?
Yes, now you're.
Now I can? No? I don't want my glove.
So if you don't mind, I can repeat the question from the audience, so you can go ahead and say. You asked how does it work? Please go ahead. This budget doesn't impact whatsoever the EU budget. Yes. Yes. So that's the current situation. Usually it is recommended, but it's only a recommendation. So the question was, in case you have a Swiss partner on board, how does it work with respect to their budget? So the answer from direct experience, we are Swiss based as well. We can participate, we cannot coordinate as Swiss, and the portion of the budget that goes to the Swiss partner comes directly from the Swiss government and does not impact whatsoever the EU requested grant. Of course, in order to minimize risks for the consortium, it is always recommended that there is not more than 2/3 of the budget that go to Swiss partners, clearly. And cases are covered in the consortium agreements, of course, to protect the execution. Please, your name and
Good morning, citizens. Angelos Harlaftis, Epavos Advisors. What about the participation from the Mediterranean countries, like Arabian countries, Morocco, or Turkey from the other side?
All eligible countries are indicated in the list for the specific calls. So there is a link in the portal of the EU. You can go there and you will find all the conditions. Okay, so now I suggest we go back to the flow. And I would like to call on stage Peter Czernecki. I hope he's here, from the CEO of 10x1. Are you here? Yes. No. It's you? No. Peter is not here. He was supposed to give a presentation on a natural business language to change setup complex business software. The slides of Peter will be online, so I suggest that we skip and we go to the next one. The presentation is now responsible AI and responsible software engineering of Ioardis Kotsopoulos, professor from Athens University of Economic and Business. Please repeat your family name because I know that I didn't say that correctly.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Monique. The name is Ioardis Kotsopoulos. I come from the Athens University of Economics and Business in Greece, in Athens, Greece, and I'm here to talk about the expertise and background of our group. We are first interested in the call on fundamentals of software engineering. So our expertise is on edge computing and networking, applied AI, and in particular explainable AI. Other forms of machine learning, such as federated learning, reinforcement learning, and online learning. We have papers, we are working with real data sets on that, and also network forensics. So we are applying those areas, this expertise, in various verticals. We have projects ongoing on energy, health, edge computing, as I said, security and forensics, as well as agriculture. And we are coordinating the health project PREACT, which is on applying explainable AI to predict and explain the side effects of radiotherapy in cancer patients. Okay, so our idea is under the title Responsible AI for Responsible Software Engineering. And we know that in software engineering there are different tasks involved, such as vulnerability detection, fault prediction, quality prediction, among others, and various others that we heard in the previous presentations. And so our goal should be to be responsible, to develop responsible AI tools and therefore lead to responsible software engineering. So these are the main pillars of what we believe is responsible software engineering. It has to be explainable. It has to be, the AI model needs to be continuously updated. The data would be collected from various distributed sources, so we need to be to stick to privacy by design, energy efficient, and also to be accurate in our AI prediction despite having a few data. So how are we going to address those objectives? First of all, by responsible AI tools that we can bring in the project, explainable AI, which means to explain the prediction of some complex black box model through a simpler model. Continual learning, which is about updating in a smart manner the AI model. Federated learning, which is about training AI models from distributed data. And last but not least, energy-aware AI. So these are the AI tools, and then the data tools that we can allow to overcome data scarcity is to augment data through generative AI. We are working on generative area networks and also transfer learning. So, with all those tools, we can have trustworthiness and transparency in software engineering, bypass data scarcity, have, as I said, online, on the fly AI model adaptation, stick to privacy by design, but also reduce energy also at the code design level. So here, I'm here to present these pieces of expertise. We are seeking to join consortia under formation on those topics. We are also interested on the call, the open source call. We have a group of 10, 12 people, so we have potential to offer, let's say, in proposal writing. And that's it. If you find the ideas interesting, please contact me, or please send me a meeting request today in the afternoon, and I'll be happy also to talk with you offline. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ioannis. Thank you. This I keep here for the next speaker. The next speaker is Help Doctor Robert Brunner, Managing Consulting BIMpressed, that attends remotely. Robert, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Just
Okay.
a second. I will coming up here. It's always a technique. Just a second. We will
But
start.
we can hear you, so you can go ahead, and we'll see your screen. So yes, we can see you now. Perfect.
Very good. I have a problem with the sharing. Give me a second. I will attend as soon as possible. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah. And I will move
yes,
here.
but you cannot. Okay. You don't need to share the screen. It's shared from here, actually. So please
okay.
just go ahead and say next when you want.
Okay, great. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much. I would like to introduce you Help Doctor. We are an app, and we're helping clinics and doctors with the waiting room management. We would like to introduce this app to the German market with partners. We develop it here around in Europe, and we solved the problem during the Corona time that the patients won't go to the doctors or into clinics, And we built Help Doctor as an app to come in contact with doctors and nurses and to see what's about the disease and how urgent it is, and or to get an help to get recipes and so on. And so we built the app to come in contact. It's not it's not about having a telemedicine consultancy in deep, but to having the first contact with the doctor and the nurse to talk about this. And so we built this app, and so it is also easy to share information with the doctor. You have the possibility of a video chat and sharing some data you would need, and then you get the appointment. That's a really easy app to install, and we have some clinical partners, so we are further than a pilot, and we could bring it to the clinics to have here a good conversation between the patients and the doctor. So we would like to go for this, and you can have here my information. You see here my slides. It's a short introduction we gave here. We could share different data. All the data would be in a secure mode, and it's easy to install it and to use it for the patient as well. And you can write me at my email at info@help-doctor.de.
Thank you very much, Robert. Actually, we didn't expect a promo corner today, but I'm sure that maybe there are some interesting applications of this kind of technology with research and innovation purposes. Now we pass to the next one that is in person, I hope, because it's great. So please come on stage. Systems Research Institute, Polish Academy of Science, Piotr Sowinski, in person, will tell us more about their interest on these calls.
Right? Oh, yeah, it's working. Perfect. So, hello everyone. My name is Piotr Sowinski. I'm a researcher at the Systems Research Institute, Polish Academy of Sciences. And I would like to tell you about our idea for a proposal to the fundamentals of software engineering call. Right, so Systems Research Institute carries out foundational and applied research in cutting-edge artificial intelligence, many different kinds of it. Self-start capabilities, so we are talking here about self-management, self-configuration, self-healing, Cloud-Edge-IoT systems, DevOps methodologies, and more. We are currently the technical coordinator of two Horizon projects, Assist IoT and Aeros, where we apply our expertise in these specific areas. We have also participated in a number of other projects. As for what makes our institute interesting is that we have the access to a very large talent pool of the growing IT cluster in Warsaw. So our workforce is comprised of very talented people who are both researchers and programmers, and that in turn ensures the very high quality of our research and software output, which is open source by default. We actually live by these open source paradigms. So as for our vision for this call, we want to leverage the newest technology, especially artificial intelligence, but not only that, to create a more seamless software development experience all around. And we are positioning ourselves here as project coordinator. I should slow down a bit. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it helps to breathe. But more on that in just a second. All right, so as for our proposal, we want to use novel artificial intelligence methods, including large language models. That's a mouthful. But not only that, also, for example, knowledge graphs that I work a lot with for all stages of the DevOps lifecycle. So not just coding, but also testing, packaging, deployment, operation, monitoring. We also want to use automated self-start mechanisms. So like I said, self-management, self-configuration, self-healing. And the goal here is that we want this DevOps framework to behave like it's alive, so that it can take some of this decision-making burden from the developer and make some decisions on its own. We also want to leverage WebAssembly which is a very promising technology to create cross-platform software. What this technology enables us to do is to code once, compile it once, and then we take this one single binary and we can run it on any platform that can run WebAssembly. So this also would include, for example, RISC-V. And here we are looking for pilot partners who have challenging use cases that would benefit from this approach. We are also looking for research partners, especially those with extensive experience in software engineering, and software companies who work a lot with producing large-scale software that know what this is actually about. Right, so as for the proposal value, we want to propose a breakthrough approach to holistic AI-driven DevOps, like I said, all stages of the DevOps lifecycle. We also want to use self-start mechanisms. We want to go a bit further than the AI tools of today and achieve autonomy and automation. So not just a tool, more autonomous decision-making on the part of the framework. And we also want to create tools that will fully leverage the new CPU architectures. I'm of course talking about RISC-V, because one of the main problems with this very good architecture is that not that much software runs well on it yet. But with this compile once, run anywhere paradigm of WebAssembly, we can maybe at least partially solve this. So as for our value, well, we can coordinate the proposal, but we are open to other options. Please talk to us if you are interested. And we have a lot of experience in technical coordination of Horizon projects, where we have successfully managed the deep technological stacks there. And we also have a lot of cutting-edge research experience in the areas that are relevant to the call. So as for next steps, we are of course looking for partners and preparing the proposal. Like I said, my name is Piotr Sowiński. This is my email. Feel free to contact me here via the website or via this email. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Piotr. Really appreciate it. Very much to the point and very much in time. So now we have a little buffer before we have the coffee break. Let's make sure that we take questions, whether online. There I will need to ask if there are specific questions. Ah, you arrived. Great. So.
Sorry guys, my flight got delayed. So
if you can just put this, and we put the presentation of Peter
Czernecki. Yeah,
Czernecki.
It's a Polish name, but
voilà. The floor is yours.
Good. So this is very nice to meet you. My name is Peter Czernecki. I founded a few businesses, and prior to that I worked 14 years with different kind of private equity investors, quite, let's say, reputable ones. And today I came here for one simple reason, which is we want to create a software that reads your mind. So whatever you think and you want and what is your intention, it will do it. Okay, so this is it. Yeah, it is very, very simple, I know, and humble. So we have today a platform that consists of a few 10 lines of millions of code already, which is, today they named it, this is a low-code, no-code platform. So who is in this business probably is familiar with this expression. And we have plenty of things explicitly set in the system that is otherwise in other systems, in other complex business software systems is implied, okay? So plenty of things we made explicit, and we want to add two additional layers to this whole system. One that is going to create some sort of unified language into which you can enter your directions, what you want to change. And the second thing is that from this unified language, it just changes the system itself. It is very simple, I know, just like brain surgery, you can do brain surgery in 3 steps. So you open the brain, you do the surgery, and then you close it. So it is that simple, okay? I know, and we need a few partners. So anyone who is in NLP, natural language processing, and into foundational models, warmly welcome. And I think this is a little bit complex slide for here. And you've suffered through already, I think, something like 45 minutes of presentation. So I think that the value add of us is that we have a team, we know the problem well, we've been working on this for 10 years, I'm not exaggerating, so it's not something like we just came up with yesterday just to come here and present. We have a base code base and plenty of additional code bases merged into one. We can train several models on this, and what we want to find partners to determine the feasibility and the technical approach, then plan, budget, financing, and pilot. Surprise. I don't know if there was anyone who had any other plans. I'm sure there were, but yeah, no surprise. Any questions of yours? No. Was it clear?
There's going to be now a Q&A session.
Okay.
It was extremely clear. Thank you very much. Sorry, I have two mic now. As I mentioned before, the slides will be made available, so you will be able to dig into the specific details. And now I suggest that we take the opportunity of a few more minutes. Well, actually, we're a bit late, but still I would like to check if there's questions in the room that have not been covered. It doesn't look like. So are there burning questions? No. What I would like to do is to recommend you to talk to each other. Some have been very clear on what are their aims and purposes, coordinating, not coordinating. Some others might still make up their mind. So please feel free. And we will resume after the coffee break. In this room, we will continue to discuss open source aspects. And we will restart, I think, at 11 sharp. So thank you very much. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Voilà. So here it snows, it's falling here in Brussels. I left Zurich where there was half a meter snow yesterday. So Europe is semi-paralyzed. Germany, Munich was isolated, so not so many people were able to travel, but the good news is that many people are online. We have about 450 registered participants, and online, so for on and off, about 200. So great to be many people interested in the calls. Now we continue with the open source session, and it might be that some people didn't make it because of weather condition and problem with transportation, so bear with me in case there are some changes. Now the first presentation in person with, did I see Piyush? Yes, he's here. I saw him before. Please, on stage, Terraview from Switzerland, indeed. An applause to warm up, no? I like applauses.
Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. After the coffee break, hopefully the minds are active again. I am CEO and Managing Director of Terraview GmbH from Switzerland, which means that if we come into consortium, it's not going to affect your budget. And just to upfront, we are not interested in coordinating. We are more interested to come in as use case providers. And let's see. Can you go to Okay, so we are still in a startup mode. We are four-year-old company, started in May 2019. 2021, we did the first prototype of our consolidated farm management platform called Terraview OS in Spain with few companies there. And in the second quarter of 2022, we started consolidating the entire company resources into Switzerland because it became very apparent that having a distributed team spread all over the world from US to China was not easy to manage. And in this year, we have grown to 12 full-time employees in Switzerland. We have 2 products. We have 32 paying customers spread between Australia, Spain, US, France, Mexico. And we are into, I think, 4 or 5 European projects active. So we have 2 main products which are live. One is Terraview OS, which offers an all-in-one dashboard for farm management. The hottest selling solution that we have is the self-adjusting yield estimates, which takes into account the changing weather patterns and adapts the yield estimation using our own proprietary machine learning pipeline. And the third feature is traceability, where we enable our customers to track every input that they use in their farm, from phytosanitary products to workers' time to machinery. And this has an implication on them, tracking their carbon footprint, them being compliant with the EU regulations in terms of which chemicals they can use, which chemicals they cannot use, etc. And then we have an advanced alerting engine, which is an implementation of, when artificial intelligence started in the 80s, it was basically a rule-based expert system implementation people talked about. So it's our own implementation of that, where we, in fact, mimic a human agronomy experts to fire up alerts based on the data that we collect. The second new product that we launched earlier this year is AquaView, where what we do is we very accurately make an analysis of the relative soil moisture content in the soil without using any hardware. This is a groundbreaking change because in order to understand the irrigation needs and in order to optimize the water use and understand the water use efficiency, you need to understand what the water content in the soil is. And the biggest limitation there is the use of hardware. It's expensive. It's prone to breakage. The uninitiated tractor drivers simply, row over them and destroy it. And so we came up with a solution using a combination of our in-house satellite raw data imaging processing and machine learning pipeline to predict to within plus minus 1.5% accuracy the moisture content on the soil. So far, the solution is live in only 2 countries, Switzerland and Czech Republic. Czech Republic because one of the project partners is from that country. And what we are using machine learning here is to do moisture forecasting and also do backfilling of data on the days when the satellites don't pass over a region. So what we bring on the table if we are in a consortium, we have a lot of experience. My colleague Andy is in the back here. We have led several work packages and projects in the past and have initiated many project proposals ourselves. What we have concretely is we have 26,000 hectares onboarded on Terraview OS platform. We have 2.2 terabyte of real-time census data, weather map data, and this is growing. And we have 65 terabyte of soil moisture content data, and this data set is growing. So in the past, we have come across many consortiums which target machine learning, big data spaces, but they actually don't have big data. We actually do have big data, and we only have 65 terabyte because our internal clusters are not capable of handling more data. And we have only activated Switzerland and Czech Republic, and we only have 9 pilot customers. We did a calculation where if we just have to enable the AquaView solution for the entire country of Czech Republic, our data set will increase to 1 petabyte. And we are working with 2 large HPC centers in Europe, and even they said that they could not provide us the storage right now for 1 petabyte of storage. So we have a real large big data set that we can bring into the consortium. We have 1 Eurostar project active, 1 6G SNS, and 4 Horizon-Next projects ongoing. So we are quite well versed with how the project management goes. So we are interested in many calls, but what our challenges are, we have a huge software stack which scales with the workload. It's microservices architected, and we really hate it, big time. We have a huge problem with our ML ops, especially around automated quality control and versioning. It's a nightmare for us in the company to manage it. And we have an edge device. So this morning, the European Commission official was saying that by 2030, there's going to be 10,000 edge devices. We have 4 of them at least in our company. And data sharing and security concern is a big challenge. We still have not solved all the pieces of puzzles here. So I think that's all. That's Terraview GmbH for you. If you're interested, just contact me and Andy for in-person meeting or reach out to us via email. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the nice presentation. We work with them in a couple of projects, so I can just reconfirm it's very exciting to work with Terraview. Now the next presentation is from Parsimoni, the European IoT Edge OS, Miklos Tomka, in person. Thank you, Miklos. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. So we are a French company, and what we develop the OS layer for critical infrastructure, focusing on IoT Edge. Now, this company is brand new, but the history of the company is actually not that new anymore. We are using open source technology that was originally created by the founders of Parsimoni. And that technology is used today as part of Docker. So the operating system we propose is today used in the cloud by millions of people. That sort of explains to you that it's robust, it's good. Docker chose it because they felt that that's the most secure and most capable platform for them. Since this is open source, we said, well, it's good Docker is using it, but the real challenge, the way we see it, is with IoT Edge. I mean, there are significant issues in using those technology systems which have very often limited hardware resources, and because of that, they have significant challenges related to cybersecurity as well as efficiency. And we attack both problems. So our technology is a technology that's secure by design, even if the actual user does nothing but just uses our platform, which is called Parsimoni, which is the platform for operating systems. They are protected against 60 to 90% of all zero-day cyber attacks because of the software architecture used. We also use a technology called unikernels, and unikernels lead to very, very small code sizes. So we are looking for consortium partners who are interested in benefiting from very high levels of cybersecurity and efficiency. Now, what impact do we have so far? The platform we develop is the same name of our company, called Parsimoni. On that platform, we launch different products. The first product that's being launched is called SpaceOS, and it's for satellites. So for that one, we work in partnership with Thales. We are member of a consortium project to develop IoT Edge AI computing for satellites. And we were able to prove that our technology was 20 times smaller than that of Thales originally. Also, on the cybersecurity front, we have proof. We have put up a container using our technology in the cloud. We invited hackers to hack it. Actually, we put 10 bitcoins inside. There were 150,000 hack attacks, not one succeeded. So it's a very secure, very efficient platform. And we are looking for partnerships. I mean, an OS in itself doesn't serve too much. It has to have applications. We are looking for partners who have applications. And we can run at different levels. We can run as a Meta OS. So basically, we propose to replace Kubernetes. But we can also run directly on bare metal. So we can run on RISC-V and other hardware platforms, depending on what the requirements are. I'm here all day. I'm looking forward to talking to interested parties.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Super on time and super clear. Thanks a lot. Now, the next presentation is online, remotely, from Alberto Marti from OpenNebula. Alberto, are you there?
Yes, hope so.
Great. So we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, do you want me to share? Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, it's already there. Okay, so yeah, you can move to the next slide. So I'll try to be quick. I guess some of you have been in the previous session as well. So, well, I'm here to present OpenNebula as a European open source technology. For those of you who don't know us yet, OpenNebula Systems is the European company behind this technology. We are based in Madrid. The software has been around since 2008. It's a production level, an enterprise level software. So we mostly work with corporate users and customers, but we're very much involved in innovation and research at European levels, being a software that comes out of a research project back in the day itself. So our main interest in this call, you can see OpenNebula as a European alternative to OpenStack, for instance. So in that sense, we are what we call we are like an operating system for the cloud, right? So we are a virtualization infrastructure manager and also a tool that companies use to deploy a private cloud or aggregate edge resources, private edge resources, or as I explain in a second, combine infrastructure resources across the Cloud-Edge continuum and create an abstraction for applications running on top. So in that sense, one of our priorities has been since 2021 to bring together different European open source vendors around an initiative we called Sovereign Edge to promote innovation and research, joint collaboration in this area among ourselves. We are also at the moment chair of the Cloud and Edge Working Group of the European Alliance for Industrial Data, Edge and Cloud. It's an initiative supported by the Commission. And we're also very much involved in other key initiatives like the IPSI on cloud infrastructure and services as the core of a component we call a open source meta orchestration platform. So if you can move to the next one, please. Okay, so this call, we're not targeting this call directly as a coordinator, as we've been doing in some other topics because it's a bit too low level for us. The main interest we have in this call, as we rely on an operating system managing the devices, is obviously to make sure that our customers and users, we have thousands of them around the world, can make use of new processor architectures. So our main interest will be to sit on top of other technologies that are actually offering these capabilities, up the chain, the food chain, to a virtualization infrastructure manager, or in our case, a Cloud-Edge platform that in this case, as you see in the screen, already has this capability of aggregating resources, both private and public, based normally on environmental offerings from cloud providers, and create this abstraction, this infrastructure abstraction for a number of applications running on top, including Kubernetes deployments or multi-tenant Kubernetes clusters for different departments and things like that. So if you can move to the next one, please. So my main interest today, my main message is, in general, please do use European open source technologies. Visit sovereignedge.eu if you want to have a look at the companies with whom we collaborate already. And then in our specific case, we'll be very happy to provide more details about our interest in this topic and how can we help to connect these new architectures with real use cases and real customers on the ground that might benefit from the things like RISC-V, for instance, in their HPC deployments or industrial deployments, and bring that to a larger scale scenario sooner than later. So thank you very much, and yeah, stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you. Actually, also maybe worth to mention that Nexus Forum will start in a couple of months. Well, actually, in a month from now.
In a month, yes.
January. And it will be a coordination and support action that will help also this community to grow. So you will see more of Alberto and more of the Nexus Forum. So now the next presentation comes from Anastasios Nanos, and it's from remote, unifying execution environments from for the Cloud-Edge-IoT Continuum. Anastasios, are you with us?
Hi there, yes.
Great, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thanks very much. So we are a small company, a small SME based in Greece. We were established in 2020, and we're doing research in virtualization systems. So we are remote. We work from Greece, the UK, and Germany, and we're involved in Horizon 2020 projects and Horizon Europe projects. We mainly focus on low-level OS hypervisor systems development. We do container runtimes and orchestration. In general, we do system software, and we have a focus as well on the hardware acceleration front. I'm Anastasios Nanos. I'm a systems researcher. So if you could move to the next slide, please. Thanks very much. So one of the challenges that we have seen is that there are diverse requirements in the whole stack of the continuum, of the Cloud-Edge-IoT continuum. So in the cloud, there are challenges regarding security, regarding resource utilization. However, at the edge, and especially in IoT, a specific challenge is how to manage applications, how to do the software delivery, how to make sure that your application is running legitimately on the device, and how to be able to secure your application and your device from malicious tenants. So we're interested in most of the calls. We have a specific one there, but in general, the technology that we build is around a unified build and execution framework for cloud-native deployments on edge and IoT devices. That does not exclude the cloud. So in our mind, a user could just deploy a snippet of code as a function in the serverless example and scale out at the edge and even on IoT devices. This is really challenging because it's IoT devices usually do not run a generic operating system, so you cannot run a container as is. So what we develop is a container runtime that can unpack container images, open OCI artifacts, and deploy them on IoT devices. This is our specific focus. Our goal is to provide seamless scaling of applications, as we mentioned earlier, alongside the efficient use of the various acceleration devices that exist on these devices. Let's say a specific DSP or a TPU or an NPU, whatever can be can offload computational cost from the generic CPU or from the application in general, and make sure that this application can use it. So have a clean API, have an abstract API, have an interoperable API where you can use the same application in the cloud on an edge device, let's say a Jetson Nano, or on an IoT sensor. A microcontroller can gather statistics, metrics, and do an average or a sum, or do some pre-processing, or even run TinyML there. So it's a diverse mix of software components that need to be orchestrated correctly and make sure that you can deploy your application there in a cloud native way. If you could move to the next slide, please. So as I mentioned, our focus is to do the cloud native integration of embedded devices. So we would like to see IoT devices as first-class citizens in an orchestration platform such as Kubernetes. So we have started developing this technology. We have a custom container runtime where we can deploy unikernels, and our goal is to be able to deploy IoT blobs and provide over-the-air updates to the IoT devices so that we can update the application that is running on the microcontrollers. We have a build system in early stages where we can package any binary blob as a container image, so we can essentially use our container runtime to unpack this blob and provide the over-the-air update to the microcontroller. And we also have a hardware acceleration framework, a hardware acceleration abstraction, let's say, where we can with a unified API, we can run functions that can be hardware accelerated on a GPU, an FPGA, a TPU, whatever the cost, over the host, over a transport layer. Could be over the network, over sockets, or could be on a more tightly coupled transport layer to a hypervisor. All of these software components are bootstrapped and enhanced in Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe projects, and they are under active development. So they are open source. We're more than happy to chat and explain a bit more about our tech. Thanks very much for.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anastasios. Now let me move to the next presentation. We're more or less on time, so I think we will take some questions also at the end. But if you have them in the meantime, please feel free to speak up. Now, the next presentation is in person here, NanoFramework, Feiko Gordner, IoT leads, ECLO Solutions. Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Feiko Gorter. I work for a company called European IT company called Segeka, but today I'm here on behalf of NanoFramework. And NanoFramework is, I think, as open source comes. All our source code is available on GitHub. And we're really a community built around our GitHub resources. Now, what is NanoFramework? Of course, that's the important question. NanoFramework is the C#.NET development language, usually runs on big machines, on mobile phones, on servers, but we have brought them down to fit on a microcontroller. So looking at devices, the size of this even smaller, devices that are very cost effective, have been brought down. You can buy this device just for €2. And I'm not here to sell microcontrollers, not here to start a marketing campaign. We're completely open source, so we don't have any intention to sell anything. But what we do, why are we doing this? We're quite a big community. Over 80 people are contributing code to make this all happen. Over 5,000 members, and I think we're very successful. At this point, we have 1 million downloads of libraries every month. Those are, I think, quite spectacular. And we're very eager to bring NanoFramework to the next phase. So why is it so popular? I think the thing is with IoT, with edge computing, and when it comes to microcontrollers, it's very hard. And we need microcontrollers in the fields monitoring what's going on, monitoring the environment, monitoring how do you say, in the factories, certain points, so we can make things better, so we can have less waste, so we can make the Green Deal really happen. But developing for these microcontrollers, you have to write languages that come from the 70s and the 80s of last century. We like to bring them to this century. Using C# is a much higher computing language, much easier to write, and therefore enabling IT companies who perhaps are building your company website, who are building your in-house apps, to be able also to build your IoT components. Perhaps a good example is over here. You see me standing next to a water quality sensors, and the client just wanted to have 20 of these sensors, but they're very important for ecological purposes, monitoring what's going on, why do we see this effect in the water, who is responsible for this, and how can we mitigate this problem. That's what it's all about. It's something I think very important to improve the Green Deal. We're very new to Horizon projects, to grants commissions from the EU. Very happy to be here. Just a few things already said, but I want to underline why C#, why this programming language for microcontrollers, because it's much more cost effective, it's much more time effective, bringing it down to 50 to 90% of development time. Also, the people who are writing the front end, who are writing the dashboarding and all those things going on in the IoT domain, can now also write the programming language, the programming for these small controllers, making it much more agile. They can reuse the code, and again, making things much more cost effective, because as an IoT expert, I can tell you that developing these types of devices is very time consuming and it's very expensive. I want to underline we're completely cloud agnostic. You can use whatever cloud server you like. We're hoping perhaps to find somebody here saying, hey, can you support also our platform? We're hardware independent. We're also, for example, already we can be used on RISC-V microcontroller architecture. The devices we're targeting, we're really talking about low power devices, battery power devices, and we've already seen much more complex programming being written for these devices. So we're enabling edge computing on these devices, and right now we're enabling also to run TinyML, small artificial intelligence, on these battery-powered small devices, and they can run for years in the field. So pushing the edge computing really to the device and the hardware itself. Again, completely open source, 60 million plus downloads, and right now 1 million downloads every month. We're completely, by the way, completely European. We've been founded by Eclo Solutions, I think 6 years ago. So yeah, completely open source. That's of course also our interest here. I think we can help enable to run pilots, and we're also looking to bring our platform to the next level also, so we have more professional people, professional companies that will utilize our platform, pushing the Green Deal. Some capabilities we want to add, over-the-air updates, TinyML, AI. We already support a lot of low-power IoT networks, but we want to expand on that. So hopefully this is interesting to you, and we're very much hoping to join the consortium. So please come talk to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So the chip is here for you to check or to believe what you're telling is really concrete.
Yeah. You can
Thank
just
you.
put it into USB and it will work.
Okay, great. So Thank you very much. Now we have Mais Al-Nadai from University of Essex in person, presenting computer science and electronic engineering work and interest.
This is working?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. Afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be with you. So my name is Mais Al-Nadai from University of Essex, as introduced, and I'm going to be talking particularly about expertise in computer science, electronic engineering school, and the Institute for Analytics and Data Science. We bring complementary expertise. So how do I do it? Yeah, okay. So we are active members in 6GIA and in AIoTI. We participate in the energy worker groups, testbed, and privacy and security. These are where I'm directly involved. We are top in UK for impact with the portfolio in knowledge transfers exceeding £10 million. We are active also in Horizon in Europe research since FP7, as far as I'm involved and I'm aware of. Just in the last 2 years, we have 5 accepted projects that started between 23 and going to start in 2024. So quite excited about that. We are the 9th in UK for research impact and also the 6th for research power. These are the most updated figures, and we're looking to improve them even further in the next 8 years. The department is 4 research groups, and I'm going to be focusing mostly today on the Cloud-Edge one, the Communication and Networks group, as well as the Robotics and Embedded Systems groups for their direct relevance to these goals. However, the other 2 groups are quite experienced in providing use cases for what we are interested in developing here. So if you are interested in them, have a look. I've put them in there so that you can see what sort of use cases they might be relevant to you. Right, so I'm going to skip that. For now, for this session, we are interested in both emerging 21 and 22. In 21, it's the embedded systems, and our colleagues have been working heavily on RISC-V architectures. They are looking at heterogeneous systems on chips, and they are focusing on developing solutions for non-intrusive diagnosis of hardware. We're looking to join in a consortium, so we bring technical expertise, but make no mistake, we are not passive waiting to be told what to put. We get active from the concept shaping stages. We are actively engaged in planning, and we are interested in going as far as work package lead. Leadership positions, other leadership positions we are interested in as well, but we are not necessarily directly coordinating, at least not in these particular calls. We do have a quite extensive testbed and integration infrastructure, so the embedded and intelligent systems have their own facilities for rapid prototyping and testing, and they bring a number of use cases. The ones that we are directly having in the department include Industry 4.0, 5.0, and agri-tech. So we have actually quite a big robotic-enabled agri-tech facilities, and we interact with UK local businesses. So, for example, we have this one of interesting, jam factories, and kind of like you go and you have the robotics picking up strawberries and going through all the stream pipeline of actually taking raw fruit and producing jam. So yeah, my colleague who's directly involved in that, he looking at cybersecurity and privacy elements. He's online. He can provide further details on that call. The one I'm more focused on personally is emerging 01-22. In there, we are looking, so as we are observing more open source, there is the big push for open source. One of the key things that we are seeing in open source as a challenge is reliability and sustainability. With open source development, there is the heterogeneity element of how mature is the software. You can produce this, you can produce that. Can they actually fit together? Especially if you have different actors, the problem becomes compound. So I'm looking at how can we bring the microservice-based approach, and I completely understand the pain that one of the presenters was talking about. We hate them too, but unfortunately, it looks like we need to work with them for all sorts of reasons. So we're looking at how can we do dynamic composition and orchestration of applications from microservice components. When I talk about microservices, I don't just mean software. I'm looking at AI as a microservice as well. So we are, so to give you an example, one of the recent activities we get involved in is the spatial web. And we are looking in there at how can we do active inference from AI? How can we connect AI? This is something we started under different terminologies a few years ago. And now it's being rebranded into this active inference, knowledge transfer, connectivity of microservices. So that we are looking to bring into this call. We have been tackling non-functional requirements. So there are a few papers I can point you towards if you are interested in seeing what do we mean when we talk about orchestration and composition from a non-functional perspective. But here we see more and more functional perspective need to be picked up. So how can we compose them from different functional components to achieve a composite functionality? How can we do AI-assisted fault tolerance healing? And how can we do that, especially in the presence of multiple actors? And multiple actors bring novel challenges because one of the key things is that they don't have full disclosure of information, so you don't necessarily know all the nitty-gritty of softwares. We have our own, again, for this purpose, we have a state-of-the-art edge cloud infrastructure and orchestration components that we test on top. So in there we can bring infrastructure that can be used for bringing software technology up to TRL 4 and 5 in a preparation for, for the higher TRLs and pilot and whatnot. Use cases in here, we are agnostic to a particular use case, so we are happy to kind of discuss and see, and we've supported along the years quite a variety of use cases. So I'm around here. Let's have a chat. Yeah. And if there are any questions in here, I don't know if there's time. If I'm on time, these are my contacts.
Thank you very much. Contacts have been shared. Please, we try to yes, please applause. A lot of interesting areas and topics. Now let's go ahead with the remote presentation. Sarah Madariaga, head of an Arsys lab, she will introduce us the lab. Please, Sarah, we can see you. You can go ahead.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for letting us introduce Arsys and its capabilities as a partner for Horizon calls. So first, Arsys is a cloud infrastructure and service company. We are based in Spain. We have data centers in Spain, and we also operate in other European countries and also in the US. We are a European company. We're based in Spain and belong to the IONOS group, which is German. And from there, we also have capabilities in other EU countries. We've been active in the internet market for businesses for more than 25 years now. And we were European pioneers in cloud solutions, offering the first service for managed cloud services in Europe, which was called Cloud Builder, which is used at the moment as well. We evolved it, but is still used. Here you can see a few numbers of the number of services and customers we have. We also offer email services, hosting, but what we are interested in offering here is our cloud infrastructure. We have the latest technologies in physical, logical, and industrial security. We are certified in ISO 27000 and also comply with the highest security levels from the Spanish National Security Scheme, which allow us to work with public administrations and partners and clients having critical infrastructure or critical data use cases. You can go to the next slide, please. Our main interest in this group of calls is the open source for cloud and edge, because we see a trend in our customers that they are not using just our cloud, they are using other clouds, they are using their own infrastructure on premise, or they are exploring also the edge, and what we want is to support them in facilitating the deployment of their infrastructure and their applications. Next slide, please. So what we can bring to a proposal, at the moment we cannot coordinate a proposal in this topic, but we can bring experience in previous EU-funded projects. We are also about to start in the IPSA-ISIS. We are one of the Spanish partners for this project, together with OpenNebula and Telefónica. We can offer our infrastructure to test new components like a lab. I actually work for the department which is called Lab, where we support testing of new hardware components, or new computing models, or new platforms, or new paradigms of computing. What we ultimately want to do is either use those hardware components for our operations, or to develop new products and services for our clients. So we also have expertise in how the infrastructure as service and platform as service market works, and we can also bring some of our customers to projects for use cases. And we are also looking for commercial exploitation partnerships. As I mentioned, we are a for-profit company, so we sell things. So the more things we can sell, the happier we will be in the future. So if this is a match for you, please contact me. I have further details in the B2Match platform regarding the company and how to contact me through email or through the B2Match platform as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Very clear, very much to the point. The contacts are there, and also the key points. Are there burning questions online for the time being? No? Let me remind our participants that we have here in the room several people, including Luis from the European Commission. So if there are questions also about the cause, not only about the presentations, you can feel free to ask. And we should take the opportunity of being together today to try and address any item you would like to discuss. Now we go on with the next presentation in person from Luca Cominardi from ZettaScale and Zenoh. Yes, applause are always welcome.
So thank you very much for an introduction, Nick. So I'm Luca Cominardi, I'm the head of technology for ZettaScale. But what is ZettaScale and what we want to do? So our mission is really to bring to every connected human and machine the unconstrained freedom to communicate, compute, and store anywhere at any scale efficiently and securely. So what does that mean? It means that we fit in the middleware and we provide means for communication, whether it's an application, whether it's an orchestration system, whether it's a microcontroller. So the team of ZettaScale have been around for quite a long time, especially for distributed and real-time system. And we've got really a strong thought and technology leadership. And more than half of our engineers hold a PhD. And we have been around for many use cases and many technologies. So DDS, data distribution service, has been one of our babies since the beginning. And Cyclone DDS is also our baby. And lately, we are really jumping in Zenoh. That is the most powerful and efficient protocol yet on the market. And all of this, if we think all of this together, so basically for the target calls that we are interested in at the moment, we are mainly really focused on the open source part. So everything that is open source, we are very much interested in, but not only, okay? So everything that deals with distributed system, real-time system, we are there, okay? As a company, as a project. So Zenoh, I think, is what makes ZettaScale special at the moment. And Zenoh is an open source project, and is part of the Eclipse Foundation. It's fully made in Europe, and it's part of the Eclipse Foundation, also an open source European foundation. Zenoh is an open source pub/sub query protocol, so allows you to move data wherever you want, but also to query data from wherever you are. And does this also to merge not only communication, but also computation and storage for the microcontrollers, like the one shows before, to up to cloud data center, everything between along the continuum. It runs everywhere, so it means that it runs on different platforms, hardware platform, different type of networks, so from constraints networks, and it runs and provides API for different programming languages. So as a developer, you can target different programming languages. C# still coming, so it might be interesting you could help on this, right? And more importantly, so it also supports any topology. What does that mean? Means that once you communicate, I mean, you are not constrained about our choice. So we leave the freedom to you to choose how you want to communicate. If you take other technology nowadays, even open source, either it's one way or the other. If you want to have both, good luck stitching everything together. So Zenoh does it for you. So here is basically a picture to showcase a bit one use case that is robotics, that is pretty much interesting for Zenoh, especially an ongoing effort of having ROS2 operating, so the robotic operating system 2 on top of Zenoh. So with one protocol, one technology, you can have communication from the microcontrollers that inside the robot to the platform board on the robot itself, for example, also through shared memory. You can have communication for a fleet of robots, a swarm of robots over Wi-Fi, 5G, or 4G, and you can also integrate your edge data center or the cloud data center. So basically, you could get a scenario like this, where you can have your robot that publish some data, like sensors, cameras, LiDAR, point clouds, and those data are automatically routed and delivered to the right interesting parties. For example, if there's a storage for login and debugging, or for a replay kind of scenario, or for other robots for coordination, right? Or also, for example, for control room, for a dashboard for the user, the human in the loop scenario. It's also extensible, so it's not an island, so we can interoperate with other technology like MQTT, DDS, HTML. We integrate with InfluxDB, other technologies. And if a plugin doesn't exist as of today, it can be done, okay? So that's extensible. And in terms of performance, that's when it comes down to real system, that's where we play. So we play in pure software. We are more than 60 gigabits per second on data center hardware. We've got a higher throughput than MQTT, Kafka, and also DDS, and we are targeting microsecond latency for machine-to-machine communication. As ZettaScale and Zenoh have been involved in many projects at the moment. So, for example, from smart cities to 5G control plane to data plane for robotics, also vehicular networks. So. And many other scenarios from telcos, automotive, robotics, smart cities, IoT. We have been collaborating with a really large network of partners, whether there could be a university, research centers, or industrial partners. In terms of what we can provide for these calls, we are looking to be a partner, right, to join proposal. And we are not constrained to only one specific use case or another, but you could either be a technology provider, or you can also be a use case provider in case, for example, you are more interested in robotics, or automotive, or, for example, agriculture. So, said that, don't forget to visit the Zenoh website. It's open source, it's Eclipse, it's European, and we've got on GitHub, so don't forget to start the GitHub if you like it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Luca. Now, questions, immediate questions, reactions? Nope. So we now move online with Thierry Louvet from Systematic Paris Region's Open Source Hub. Thierry?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Monique. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for giving Systematic this opportunity to present our cluster, its open source hub, and our pitch for the topic Digital Emerging 01-23 Public Recognition Scheme for Open Source. My name is Thierry Louvet. I'm Europe and International Affairs Director at Systematic. We are a deep tech cluster based in the Paris region. As you can see on this slide, just a few words about, first of all, Systematic and a bit more about its open source hub. We are a not-for-profit association under French law. We are based in the Paris region, and I think it may be important to mention that we are actually officially recognized by the French authorities as a cluster. In France, we have this concept of pôle de compétitivité. I don't know if you have come across this before. Anyway, I wanted to mention that. As I said, we are a deep tech cluster. We have roughly 900 members. not only actually based in the Paris region, but also outside within France, and also for some of them abroad. We represent both academia, and an industry. In fact, since we are a membership-based organization, we have representative from those two domains. And the interest here for being here today is really related to our hub, our open source hub. In fact, I have been, so to speak, delegated by them to present Systematic, but also to talk about our ambition regarding the public recognition scheme for open source topic. Some words about the open source hub. As you can see on the right-hand side of the slide here, it's one of our what we call hub in Systematic. We are organized in different thematic groups. And in fact, the open source hub is a result of more than 10 years work by its predecessor, which was called the Open Source Thematic Group. And it's currently at a pivotal point because towards Europe, obviously, we would like to very much promote and defend the open source ecosystem and its initiatives, in particular in the Paris region, and towards the market with the development of what its members are offering, and also in terms of educating companies and users alike about the specific features of open source in terms of creation, collaboration, and marketing. And in this respect, the open source hub, has a number of missions. First of all, is to act as a kind of cross-disciplinary platform, both between its members and between Systematic's open source hub and all the other technological hubs in Systematic. And we also would like to play some kind of a unifying role, creating levers and gateways for collaborative innovation. Just to mention here, there's a couple of pictures here, and one I would like to bring your attention to is particularly the one that says, it mentions the open source experience. There's a little caption there about the open source business show in Europe, which I think is very relevant for the public recognition scheme for open source topic, since a lot of what we do in Systematic is organizing events, generally and particularly the open source hub. And we're also active in organizing studies, research around open source. And we are an active member of the French Open Source Federation, the CNLL. The next slide, please. So about the proposal itself, we are planning to, our ambition is really to be coordinating this topic, so to be the coordinating the proposal and hopefully coordinating the project if that proposal is accepted. What we very much would like to do, and with reference to what I've mentioned before about this open source experience event, is to duplicate or organize a similar type of event, but obviously at a much bigger level, a kind of a showstopper ceremony. Mr. Busquet mentioned a Nobel Prize type of event, so that means a prestigious venue, a lot of very important people coming from all over Europe, and obviously reflecting the professionalism of the open source industry. So what we understand from this topic is that it seeks to increase the number of contributors and contributions within open source, and to strengthen the diversity of contributors to the open source domain. And very much targeting all the stakeholders of the European open source ecosystem. So our ambition is to obviously take that into account in terms of the criteria, in terms of the category prizes that have to be taken into account, and also, if at all possible, remove any obstacles to the adoption of open source, and obviously be aware of all the ethical consideration that goes around using software, in particular open source. So we very much would like, as part of this proposal, to have a consortium, which is representative of the open source ecosystem, both to design the project itself, recruit and select the candidates, and obviously expertise and experience to produce an event which will have impact, which is what I understand to be the ambition and the objective for the European Commission. On the next slide, I've tried to basically summarize what we have in mind. It's very much a sketch at the moment. There's nothing set in stone, but what we're looking at is to, and in view of the budget, is to have a project which would last about 30 months. What you have here is an attempt at a work package structure. As you can see, we ambition to be the project coordinator and manage the project itself. I'm not go through in each and every one of the work packages, but this is very much the structure that we have in mind. Very much understand that we have to design the scheme, so we need to bring on board all the relevant actors. I understand there is an association at European level called APEL, APELL, of which the CNLL, the French open source community, is part of, and also I believe some of the members that are in France. What we would very much like to achieve today, and hopefully in the weeks to come, is to identify in particular any relevant organization that would like to join this proposal with us, and in particular the award edition. And that's why I've stressed on this slide, it's not exclusive, but it's one of the aspect that we would like to progress upon, is to look for partners, if possible, similar to Systematic, so kind of a cluster or association or organization that would help us to organize events for the award itself. And I've mentioned here that we think it would be good to have, if we have 2 editions, if we manage to organize 2 editions of those awards, you have one in sort of Northern Central Europe and another one in Southern Europe. So try to keep a balance if at all possible. And so we're very much looking forward to having organization that can help us do that in those 2 regions of Europe. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you today. What I would, just to say, Monique, sorry, if people want to reach out to me, they can do so via the B2Match platform. And obviously there is that possibility. And I will put in the chat, if I may, maybe my email address, just in case. And if it is possible towards the end, because I understand Mr. Busquets is in the room,
yes,
I actually have a couple of questions for him. So if that's okay, after the presentation from Callum, if you have a few minutes, I would very much like to raise a few questions, if that's okay.
What? You can put on the chat the questions, so we will take them, Thierry. I think that in the meantime, someone were announcing before arrived in Brussels, so welcome on stage. It's now let me check who is the person that is Callum, but Callum was already announced to take place now, right? So Callum in Verarity from Open Data Institute in person here, please. An applause. This is for you, and this is for advancing here.
Apologies, everybody. I think that I found myself in the wrong room. So I made it here in the end. Yeah, I'll try and keep it very brief. Myself and my colleague Elena will be here for the rest of the day, so we can speak about what I can cover very quickly in much greater detail. But so my name's Callum Verarity, and I'm from the Open Data Institute based in London. Some of you might already be familiar with the organisation. We've been around for about 11 years now, just about to celebrate their 11th birthday. We're a mission-driven, not-for-profit, small, medium enterprise of around about 50 employees. We're founded back in 2010 by a couple of people who you may be familiar with already, Sir Tim Berners-Lee and Sir Nigel Shadbolt. As I already mentioned, I'm joined here by my colleague, Professor Elena Simperl as well, who is our Director of Research. So very quickly, just to give an overview of what we're actually going to be speaking about here, it's more their interest in the open source call, and then we have a lot of different things that we think that we can offer as the Open Data Institute based on the experience that we've got, particularly through our work that we've been doing so far over the past 11 years on consultancy training, policy advice and advocacy and research, particularly in an applied context. We like to consider that our research usually is geared towards actual recommendations and implementable solutions. Some of the, just as a quick overview, I'll go into some of these in greater detail in the following slide, but we focus on open standards, open data ecosystems, open data infrastructure, data ethics and transparency, and I'm sure you can manage to read the rest, and the slides will be circulated along, so I won't spend too much time on that. You'll see some of the organizations that we've worked with in the past and continue to, so this is a range of different organizations, including from the private sector, from philanthropic organizations, and also government bodies. So we've previously been involved in some Horizon projects in the past, prior to some turbulent affairs that happened in the past few years, but we're back, which is the great thing to hear. Anyway, so moving on. So our proposal, as I mentioned, we're primarily interested in building open trustworthy data ecosystems worldwide, particularly in this instance with an emphasis on Europe. So the headline areas that we've been working in up until this point include open data, open standards, open infrastructure, and open ecosystems. I've included some examples here of the types of activities that we've done, which includes our work with Open Active, which is a standard for connecting local sports facilities through an API, which we helped develop to data sets, which allows for the identification of where there's opportunities to increase physical activity and participation in sports at a local level. So this has involved the opening of 76,000 open data sets for these activities each month. We're working with 230, more than 230 organizations through the Energy Data Task Force as well. One of the big initiatives that we've been involved with as well, something you might be familiar with, is open banking, this API standard that we participated in the development of, which has then been rolled out more broadly. We are also working, as I mentioned, with some private companies, including Roche, who we collated and mapped the use of health data standards in Europe. This was particularly on the usage of health data for secondary purposes, and all of the considerations, including the data governance and security practices necessary for that to make that available. Also focusing on open data infrastructure, we are working with quite a lot of the different water bodies across the UK on what's called the Stream Data Platform to make water industry data more openly available. This might be more appropriate for some of the people that I was listening to in the other room. And then finally, also working on open ecosystems. So we've been working with organizations in India and Ethiopia through support from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to advise on data sharing practices. This is an integral part of a lot of the consulting work that we do these days. I mentioned that we've previously been involved in some Horizon projects in years past. This includes the Open Data Incubator Europe initiative. This was helping to support 57 startups working with open data or trying to increase open data. You'll be probably recognizing a bit of a theme with a lot of our work at the moment. Anyway, so just to quickly get on to our impact, I'm aware that I had about 5 minutes to present this. As I said, there's a lot more that we can talk about in follow-up conversations throughout the rest of the day, but we're really looking to partner with organizations that could benefit from some of the work and the outputs that the ODI is often delivering on, particularly through providing unparalleled experience in advancing open data infrastructure and innovation. And we have this track record for developing impactful open standards, which is at the core of this piece of work. We've worked on data prize challenges in the past as well, which is something that we would like to explore further through this call. And then we also have this vast network of open technology experts and practitioners, including our membership network at the Open Data Institute, which consists of both individuals and organizations. So that's it in a nutshell, essentially. I know that perhaps we're running a little bit over time, and apologies for my late arrival. But yes, Ellen and I will both be available for further discussions, and I know that I'm already having a catch-up with Thierry after this as well.
Thank you very much. You were not at all running too late. You were very concise and very much to the point. Elena is there in case you want to talk to them today. We finished with the round of pitches and presentations. I think you have seen quite a different variety of players, SMEs, research institutes, and I guess what's important now is also to understand from you, would you be interested in a follow-up event next year to discover more about what presented today? So the thing is, you might be next year running one of the projects, but you might also be applying for cascade funding through the pilots that will allocate some money for a third party to join. So please answer. Also because then within the ecosystem, the coordination and support action will work in the direction of making sure that follow-up events take place. I'm glad to see that nobody said no. I was gonna ask for whoever said no to explain why. So now we can see a few ones. Clearly, a lot of the work can be done remotely, as we all have learned. But I still think that the human contact and direct engagement brings so much more. So now, did we have questions? So now Katarina will read for us the questions that we've got online. Some might be for Luis. So in case, Luis, I would ask you to come on stage and I would give you the mic. So Katarina, please go ahead with the questions.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So the question is from Francesco D'Andria. I have a question about risk V in the Digital Emerging 21 call. It is mentioned 3 times in the call text. So I assume this is mandatory technology and not R&D support in the call. Can I also assume that we need to be able to implement an open source layer, because you made a mistake here, that is able to take advantage of, integrate with this technology while we manage the whole life cycle of the orchestration?
Well, actually, the problem is that here we're mixing several things. We're asking about orchestration, while actually the topic concerns building infrastructure. It's not that you have to build a layer to interface with RISC-V. It's that actually what you are to build is an infrastructure, a computing infrastructure with RISC-V that allows you to execute cloud services. So if your idea is to build something on the cloud so that it interfaces with some sort of device, I'm not sure that this is covered by the topic.
Thank you. I think there's a couple of questions from Thierry, or at least he said he would have questions, in particular for Luis. Thierry he didn't drop any question? Thierry,
yes, I did,
okay,
yes.
great.
But I think maybe I dropped it in the wrong place. I dropped it on the
it's
chat.
okay. We can
Sorry.
hear you, so you can ask the question directly.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, Luis. Just a couple of questions. As you see, we are interested in putting a bid for the public recognition scheme, CSA. And since the text of the topic is very, I would say, small and doesn't give much detail, the colleagues have asked me to put forward a number of questions to you. And in particular, I don't know whether you can answer this, but first of all, what would be the expected number of partners that you would or minimum number of partners you would expect to have in the consortium, and I mean by partners, active partners. And the second question is, what would be, in terms of the size of budget and work package, the share of what should be dedicated to the awards versus what should be dedicated to the social human sciences aspect and the skills development aspect, since these are mentioned in the topic description?
Okay, first question, number of partners. There is no specific number of partners that we foresee. Active partners, all. If you have to be in a project, sorry, but you have to be active. If you're not active, then I wonder why you think that, well, we can add passive partners. And second question, concerning the budget allocated for the award.
there is no budget allocated for the award. It is up to the CSA to propose actually what should be done and what should be said. Actually, I was speaking with another person who was saying, well, actually, look, there are certain awards that you don't need any kind of money, so that they are actually being perceived as something important and something relevant. Think, for example, of the awards of the chess tournament. Not necessarily they are all in money, but the fact of getting a medal is enough recognition. So that's something that has to be defined by the CSA and during the first phase.
Thank you, Luis.
Thank you very much.
Thierry, thank you for your questions. Are there other points? Paula?
Thank you. I actually have a question because it's more on the link between open source and public goods, digital public goods. So for the public recognition scheme call, is there any kind of a global element welcome? Is that because, you know, like, I feel like in Europe we often still talk about open source. I feel like in France we talk a bit more about the digital public good, digital commons. So is this something that is welcome, you know, to place it in this like bigger narrative? It's a very open-ended question. It's more, you know, like on the thoughts between the open source and digital commons. Thank you.
The first proposer to actually have this question, to what extent we should, because it says open source software, open source hardware. Well, of course, the call concerns at least at least open source. But that doesn't preclude that you can include other things, such as, for example, champion of digital commons or open science or whatever. But the big part of the event, the big part of the thing has to be open source, because that's to support open source.
Thank you very much. Are there other questions from online that we can see? No. So if you allow me, there's a couple of things I wanted to mention in the closure. Would you like to add anything, Luis, also in light of what you have seen and heard?
No, that's
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you
very much. And applause to Luis and all the participants also online. What I would like to remind you is that for the ones that are here, we will have a lunch and we will have opportunities to network, to speak to people, exchange cards and exchange ideas, so please do so. Take all your belongings with you in the restaurant room because we need to put the tables for the afternoon. One recommendation that I have is also to help clarify what are your complementarities, because that's very important when you put together a consortium. Another point that I would like to add is to make sure that also you take into account the geographical distribution, the geographical balance of your consortia, because this has, of course, it's an important aspect. Other than that, I think on my side, I would like to thank all of you also to endure this cold temperature in the room. I'm freezing, I don't know you, but we keep fresh and awake in this way, sorry. Now, in 1 or 2 words, what are the priorities you would like to discuss in the follow-up event? We will possibly have a cloud of words opening up soon. Here I see open source as a first item. Of course, what I would like to throw as a stone for further discussion and reflection is that open source is not the same thing for small companies, big companies, different players that are out there. What do you mean by open source? I think it's very important to clarify that in your proposal. There's many different shades of open source out there, and I think it's important that you clarify that. I see one participant typing. I see you very shy. Maybe your hands are frozen and you cannot type. So we can look for further input afterwards. Of course, it's a bit of a shame that we were here together talking open source, and many of you I saw had to split and jump from one room to the other. Because indeed, I guess many of you would be interested also in hearing what's going on there. Myself, I would have liked to be omnipresent, which I cannot. The good thing is that most of the people will stay here and all the presentations will be made available. So even if you were in this session but you were interested in other sessions, please feel free and take the opportunity. The deadline for these calls, I would like to remind, is 19th of March, right? So Christmas in between, it's gonna fly. So it's time to start writing tomorrow, if you didn't start already. So many thanks to all of you. On my side, I will be available also to discuss ideas that concerns sustainability aspect. I didn't hear so much about this today, I must say. Sustainability, environmental sustainability. I think in the use cases, it would be nice to see a lot more of what the digital can do for protecting the environment. So thank you very much to all of you, and we'll meet downstairs for the lunch.